Since those machine has SMB protocol and NetBIOS port open, I can try to do a null session with those machine and dump more information. Now, what is a null session in the first place? A null session is the session that can be done between two computers without username and password. So what is the use of null session? Why computers can accept null session? This was a small problem in older version of Microsoft Windows operating system. And mainly it was used for redundancy. So if you have a very critical server and you don't need to get any downtime with this server, you can create another server as a failover server and create a connection or create a session between those two machines. So there will be a synchronization. Whenever you add something to the server, it will automatically add it to the second server. And the reason for that, that if one of the server fails, the second will be up and running and you will not have any downtime. So those two computers that work as a passive active or a failover server need to have a session between them so they can synchronize the information. This session used to be a null session, a session that has no username and password. And according to that, if I am a malicious hacker, I can install some software or use some tools like the one I'm going to show you right now and communicate with any server and tell him, listen, I am your backup, I am your secondary server, your failover server. Could you allow me to do a null session with you? So he will accept, since if they are using an old Microsoft Windows operating system that used to accept null sessions, they will accept. And he will not just accept to do a null session with this computer, which is a malicious computer, but he will also send him a copy to whatever he got, assuming that if he fail, this computer will act as a failover server. So I can try to communicate with any server, tell him that I am your secondary server, please allow me to do a null session with you, and please send me a copy of your information. And if the victim was using an old operating system, he will accept. So let's see how to do that. Let's start with the last one. So I will open a terminal and I'm going to start with 255. And we're going to use a specific tool for enumeration, which is RPC client. This is a tool that allows you to connect through those NetBIOS port and type -U, which means I'm going to connect to this computer using this specific user. But since this will be a null session, I'm going to put a blank user. That means I need to connect without username and without a password. And I'm going to type here the IP of my victim machine. Sorry, 163.255. And he can request a password, but since I need to do a null session, and I hope that he will accept that, I'm going to put enter. That means I don't need to put a password, so he will know, the computers that I'm trying to connect to, that this is a null session. And since this was an old operating system, he accepted. Now I can use many commands to try to grab information. So if you type help here, you will see the amount of command that I can use to grab information from this server. So let's start with, for instance, server info. And server info will give me some information, the operating system that is running, some basic information. I can try other command, but it depends on which operating system you are using or the victim have. If it's an old operating system, most probably you can get all those commands. You can get all the user that is in this domain. You can get all the groups, all the share. If it's like a newer operating system, you can get less. So not necessarily that all those commands will run. Let's try another command. Let's try, for instance, get pw. So So we can see here we can get, for instance, what can we get? Those ones that can get you the password info. I think this one. So I can try to get this one. Get domain password info. Domain. But this one didn't work. And most probably even the user, which is enumeration domain user, most probably also will not work since this one didn't work. So you can try the second one, you can try the third one, and it depends on which operating system the victim have. You will, how deep you can get in when it comes to information. So this is a small example on how to do a null session. Now the point is, since those computer got those port open, which is the NetBIOS port, most probably you will be able to compromise them using a different way. And we're going to see that while we start compromising system. So those are very, very vulnerable services. So maybe the null session are not working completely, it worked partially, but definitely this piece of information that those computer got the SMB and the NetBIOS, this definitely will help us while we are trying to compromise the system. And we're going to see that ourselves.